Welcome to our evening edition of the Chicago Millionaire Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Bobby Reed, and I got my other host on here, P.O. the Prophet. What's up, P? How you doing, baby?
Man, you know I'm good. Let's do it.
And we got a special guest in here tonight. We got the doctor in here, Dr. Shante Griggs. Griggs, I'm sorry. She graduated from the University of Illinois. She's been doing medicine all throughout Illinois. She's trying to educate the Black people and all people on their natural hair experience. She got the type 4 hair experience. She got the new book. She's signing a book July 10th. We're gonna dig into that. Doctor,
yes.
Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on, man. P.O., man, I was just reading through her bio. I told her, man, she's supposed to be on Arsenio. She on here with us. Man, we blessed, man. This is a blessing, man.
That's what's up. Showing us some love over here on Bump That Radio. Let's go.
That's
Chicago
right.
Millionaire Show. Let's go.
That's what's up. So, Doc, man, how you doing?
I'm good. I can't complain.
Yeah, before we get into it, I gotta make sure the streams is live, man, because sometimes it don't go at all. Sometimes it'll go private, and then I have to make sure it's public. So I'm changing the stream and making sure it's public. But while we on right now, I just want to hop right in and talk to you. Thank you for coming on, man.
I appreciate it.
I've had a lot of people on. I've been doing this show, man, for over like 6 years. Wow. We was in studio and then we out of studio. Now we back online. We had a lot of people on. We had a lot of people on this stage tonight, but we ain't had nobody like her, though, have we, Pete?
Not at all.
So, tell me, where did you grow up?
I am a Chicago native, born and raised in Chicago on the South Side. Well, my family started on the West Side, and then we migrated to the South Side.
South Side?
Okay, yeah. And where'd you go to high school and stuff? You went to high school out there?
I did go to high school. I went to Hyde Park.
Hyde
Park.
Okay.
Yes, I had to get up and travel because I went to John Farron Elementary School, and it's called something else. And it's one of those schools that were one of them that were closed down because I grew up in Robert Taylor. So
right, I was finna say that's down there in the projects. I know what Farron is.
Yeah, 49th and State. I was there all the way until I went to college.
Wow.
And what college did you go to?
I went to the University of Illinois, Urbana,
University of Illinois.
For undergrad.
Okay.
Wow, man, that's like a rose going through the concrete. And stigma, it's a stigma coming from the projects. How was you able to get out of there? What was the driving factor to you coming up out of there?
Education, just doing well in school. I also participated in this trio program called Upward Bound, and we did it at Chicago State University. So I was in one of those college prep programs. My aunt was a director of the program at that location. And basically it was for inner city youth that came from single parent households, low income. And I got a chance to meet a lot of people from different high schools throughout the Chicago. And I'm probably still in touch with and friends with more of the people that I was in the Upward Bound program than that of my own high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember Upward Bound. P, you remember Upward Bound, man? That was like, they get you those college credits, man, like coming out of high school. You can take like pre-algebra, those like 100 classes in college, right?
Right.
They would get, well, at least when I was in a program, they would give us whatever year you were going into, you started taking those courses the summer before, and there was always a college tour at the back end of your summer program. So the first year I was there, we went to Puerto Rico, and I learned some Espanol. Right out of 8th grade. That was one of the first trips we did. So I enjoyed going every summer. And then we had to do the Saturdays. So every Saturday throughout the school year, you still had to go to the program and do like you were in the same courses that you were taking.
Right.
In school. So it was to help you, gear you. And then they did the college tours to expose us to the different colleges and universities that you can go to. Right. And yeah, so
I think we're not doing that much nowadays, are we? Are we reaching the kids like that?
I don't know. I think they still have a level of the trio programs. It may not be called Upward Bound because Upward Bound was one of those trio programs, but I don't even know what trio stand for. I just remember seeing it and it being under the banner of a trio program. So I don't know if they still do it.
P.O., what you got, man? I don't want to, I talk all night because I was going to pivot on something else, but, I can go all night, man. I know you probably want to hop in. So anytime you want to hop in, just hop in, brother, man. I can talk all night.
Well, I just want to know what drew you to medicine out of all things to choose. What drew you to medicine?
Oh, man, because I did not go to U of I in Urbana for medicine. I went for engineering. And one day you're just looking through your curriculum and in the course catalog. And I don't know, one day I was just looking at the names of those classes. And I'm looking at it like, so what are you supposed to do when you finish all of this? And it was one of those moments. And then I said, well, let's see, what career can you go in where you'll always have a job? And then I said, well, I'm going to medicine. And so I decided to go to the pre-med route. My roommate in college at the time, her cousin was finishing the UIC's PharmD program. And when she told her that I was thinking about pre-med and medical school, I had a conversation with her cousin and she said, well, have you ever thought about pharmacy? And I was like, what's that? And so she told me some things about it. I went to the university library the next day, started researching pharmacy and what the job was like. And so I knew entering in that was a job where you would have long hours on your feet standing because it told us that. I did not know that it would grow into what it did when I started. I was halfway through the program and it somehow we call it going viral, but back then that's kind of like what it did. It just went viral. There was a Dateline interview that someone did about pharmacists and what they made. I didn't even know what they made. I was just saying, I'm going to go and be a pharmacist. The next, we had about 600 applicants in my class applying to UIC College of Pharmacy that year. They only have 100 and something seats of the 600 in the pool of people applying. After that interview and saying what we would be making and everything, the next year it jumped from a pool of 600 to 1,600 and it kept
climbing. Well, so what's the base pay of a pharmacist?
It was six figures. It was 6 figures when I learned what we were. And then the chains were really coming into play. Like they were buying up so much real estate. Walgreens was all over the place. I had my offer letter for employment 6 months before I graduated. They had sent a letter. We will pay you this bi-weekly. And I had a $10,000 sign-on bonus just to sign on. So I'm a college before. I'm like, I'll take it. And UIC, most pharmacy programs, they did not want their graduates going to the chain pharmacies, but they're the ones that were really enticing and really incentivizing it.
Right.
And I should have done the residency and went the route that the school wanted us to go. So
did you say you should have?
Yes, because if you go into a pharmacy residency after you finish your program, that's what, 30,000. But I was being offered 125,000 plus 10,000 just to say yes. So it's kind of like, I got all these student loans.
It wasn't a hard decision.
Exactly. She wasn't born with a silver spoon here. So it's not like I got an inheritance or something, so that was the plan. But I always still had a desire for patient care. And of course, this is the perspective of over 20 years ago, because now pharmacy now is completely different. It is all inpatient care. They're clinical now. They're not just in the basements of the pharmacy. In the basements of the hospitals anymore. It's inpatient pharmacy, outpatient pharmacy. You got clinical pharmacists. They're on the floors now, checking charts. They're doing so much more. So my desire to still go to medical school was based off of where we were 20 years ago versus nowadays. So I said, I'm going to still take my MCATs, and I decided to sign up. I was going to take my MCATs. I had met a young lady in undergrad that wanted to go into pre-med, and we caught up with each other some years later. I was already a pharmacist, but I was still going to take the MCATs. And I ran into her and I said, hey, did you ever go to medical school? And she's like, no, I went into this other field. It's called naturopathy. And I'm like, what's that? And still then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. And she's like, well, maybe you should think about it, or you should check them out or something. And I'm like, yeah, all right. When I did a little research on it, I thought it was the naturopath. Because when I heard the word, I'm like, oh, a naturopath. Oh, okay, I think I know who that is. So I decided to do a little research about it. And then I'm still weighing out what I was going to do. And I don't know, I just thought, I said, well, what more would you be gaining if you went to medical school? You just did a PharmD program. What more would you be gaining? And in my opinion at that time, I'm like, well, you would only be gaining prescribing authority. Do you care about writing prescriptions? And I was like, no, I'll take the road least traveled, which is natural medicine. Again, a perspective from 20 years ago, because nowadays, they all about natural now, but think about that journey. And then I went to my colleagues in conventional medicine saying, and I'm going to pursue this. And they're like, why would you do that? Oh my God. I remember I had a good friend, her and her husband, both pharmacists. We were all Walgreens pharmacists, but he was doing his residency in anesthesiology. And she was telling him about me getting ready to pursue naturopathy and everything. And he said, well, Shante, why don't you just take your MCATs like you were going to go and become a real doctor? And it's like, ouch. I mean, they're real doctors. They're just a different kind of doctor. So it was different.
Talk about that naturopathy though, because you just threw the word out like everybody just know what it is.
And it took me a little time to learn how to pronounce that.
You know what it is, Pete?
I was going to ask. I ain't afraid to ask. I didn't take the recommendation when that friend or that, person the acquaintance that I met, because I didn't know a whole lot about it. So I went on a Google search for natural medicine. And then the school that's over there in North Milwaukee popped up, but I'm looking at the results like it's not spelled right. What is this? So I went to the website and it's the National College of Naturopathic Medicine. And I'm like, all right. And so I started reading into their website and the curriculum and the brochures that they had. And I decided to take a single class from them just in nutrition, because they had their program was so heavy in nutrition. And that's something that I knew was lacking in my education over here on the other side. So I said, well, I'll just take a nutrition class and just, add that to my professional portfolio. So when I'm helping people, I'm in a dispensing role as a pharmacist at this time, I would be able to give people options, food options while they're on their medication. I would be able to do that, have those conversations. Healthy medicine.
That was the only reason why I decided to do it, was just to be able to give people options. And that's what we do as pharmacists. We give people options. We don't write prescriptions. We don't push the drugs. We just show you how to take it and administer it safely. We give you options. If you decide I don't want it, we show you how you do that. But most people, and people won't believe this, some people just want to take that pill.
They really want that pill.
So I have a lot of stories of pharmacy where they're like, nah, just give me the medication. So there are people who sit in that little circle, that kumbaya, all natural. Yeah, but then there's another element out here that's like, no, I don't care. Give me my pill. So I went to the school to take a nutrition class, and I developed a frozen shoulder. This is a painful condition. I couldn't raise my arm this high without excruciating pain.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Frozen shoulder. Yes. And where did it come from? I know now as a naturopath what it came from. Repetitive motion on a computer. Phone, ear to shoulder. Yes, doctor. How many milligrams? Yes. Imagine that 8 to 10 hours a day, years on, that shoulder is locked up.
Oh, yeah.
Excruciating pain. Excruciating.
Oh, wow.
And the only option that they had for me, my own community, medication, surgery. That was it.
Right.
I'm very young, not saying that I'm old now, but I did not want to get cut. I didn't go under the knife at that age. I got my PharmD at 24.
years old. So I just didn't want, I was afraid of going under the knife.
Right.
That was the reason.
That's the last option.
You're right. I didn't want to go under the knife. And I wasn't about to take any type of pain medications. I have the narcotics key in my pocket, the safe key in my pocket. I have access. So I'm like, I'm not about to take any pain medication either. They scared us to death in pharmacy school. People, pharmacists that lost their lives and careers because they got addicted to the substances. So I just had to go to work in pain. But the blessing was the jewel, the place that I was in. I went to a nutrition class one night and I'm sitting there trying to write, no less, take notes with this jacked up shoulder.
Right.
And the teacher saw me and he said, Shante, are you in pain? I was like, yeah, my shoulder, I can't move it. It hurts. And he was also a technique instructor, a naturopathic technique instructor. And some of the people who were in my class were also in his other class on a different night. So I became the pig of the class. He stopped the lesson and we went back to the back room where the instruction tables were. And he put me on the table. Now, from the perspective of someone who knew nothing about this, all I knew is that when I got up from the table, I felt something different. And I said, where is your office? I will pay you cash, whatever it is. If you can fix this. I went, had my appointment. Naturopathic treatments are pretty lengthy, especially first treatments. They're not really fast at all. But I went through my treatment. He put some kinesio tape on this shoulder, something that we kind of do post-treatment to people depending on how they present and what their conditions are. And I remember this because I had a really good friend of mine. His birthday was that weekend and I was all sad thinking that I couldn't go out because I was in pain.
Right.
And how many people's story is that? Your life is different. You can't do what you used to do because you're living with chronic pain. So I went and got my treatment. Next day, feeling better. That weekend, we in the club,
ready.
I had a problem with my shoulder since, and that injury was in 2010.
Wow, that's a great story.
And that's when I said, okay, let's continue down this rabbit hole. What is neuropathy again? Because I was there for nutrition. Right. I didn't know that it was a manual medicine, I didn't know what it was doing. So the bougie term, I'm gonna tell y'all the bougie term. We're a connective tissue specialist. You have connective tissue throughout your entire body. Connective tissues are ligaments, they connect bone to muscle. Connective tissues are the fascia network. We call that the white meat, but it's right beneath the skin. Connective tissues can be considered blood and even lymph. So, the lymphatic system, that's that system. It's kind of like the baby sister to the circulatory system because it helps move and reduce inflammation in the body. Anyway, all of that is considered connective tissues. And we correct and restore tissue health. And in that, we're also aligning the spine. Our treatments are very gentle, low velocity type of treatments. It's not massage. So you will know when you get on a table,
I was getting.
you will know that, and I have to say that, because they'll go, oh, get on the table, and then I will begin, and they're thinking, so what are you doing? You're doing your treatment. We have to take orthopedic and neurological evaluations on people. We have to do range of motion tests and things like that. So, postural analysis, gait analysis, and that's basically how you walk. So we people watch, and it's really, so I could tell if someone comes towards me walking, I'm already looking at their body like a walking skeleton. And I'm like, yeah, that's a short leg over there.
So do you work with athletes a lot?
Oh my God. So sports medicine is huge with us. It's huge. But we're a very small profession, not as well known. So a lot of times people don't even know that they can come to us or that we help with rehabilitation. So it's not just about treatment and maintenance. But it's also, if you're, I have a new campaign, and I have to get into that with the university, called Super Athletes. And what we're doing is reaching out to high schools, and we want to support their athletic programs with our interns, because the Doctor in Naturopathy program is a 4-year program. 3 years in a classroom, your last year, your 4th year is in the clinic. So we have a community clinic that is attached to our institution. So that's the university health system. And our 4th year interns, they go there and they're getting their experiential, and they're treating patients under the supervision of a licensed naturopath. So once they get their hours, they can now take their licensing exam from the state of Illinois, come out, get practice. A lot of people, they go into private practice, and that has been the trend for the last, oh my God, just for decades. What I'm trying to do in administration is create the workforce. And so we have a relationship now with Insight Hospital, which is the former Mercy Hospital of Chicago, to now integrate and be able to provide naturopathic services through the hospital. They're trying to rebrand in a way where they want people to think of a hospital as a place of education and healing, and not just a place to go die or get some god awful procedure.
Because that's the way that we see it.
Yeah, so they reached out to us like, hey, we would love for you guys to come and be a part of our holistic health clinic. So those are some of the things, watch out for that. That's coming. But definitely when it comes to the sport, because what we've done, we were traditionally a doctor in a naturopathy program. After COVID, we did some rebranding. We were the National College of Naturopathic Medicine. Now we're NCNM University. We're paying homage to our history and all of the founding people that made an impact for the profession. But now the legacy we want to leave is allied healthcare. So now we've added on different programs of study. I've added the pre-naturopathy program so that we have a pipeline from high school to the institution, and we walk them into the Doctor in Naturopathy program. Naturopathic assistant, which is, everyone doesn't want to go to school for 4 years, but we have naturopathic assistant, which is a 36-week program where you come to be the assistant to that naturopath. And those two practitioners or providers together is what we want to use to fuel the workforce and the hospitals that we have created.
So it's kind of like mimicking the CNA to the nurse to some degree.
Or I would say the physician assistant to the physician.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you're a part of administration. I heard you say that. What school are you at administrator at?
So NCNM University. So we rebranded and we rechanged, we got a new attitude now. So we got new colors, everything. And that's because we added more programs of study. We were just the National College of Naturopathic Medicine. And even if you ride by there now, the awning is still the same because this has been a recent change. But a lot of our promotions and things online has gone with the new branding. And we're going to expand our campus and things like that. So we're trying to expand. And in that expansion, we have adopted also athletic trainer as a program, and wanting to recruit athletic trainers, physical therapists, massage therapists, and bring them into the Doctor in Naturopathy program, give them the next step to what they've been looking for and become that type of provider and add it to the skills that they already have. So those are some of what I call the lower hanging fruit when it comes to peaking people into the profession, because they are also in physical medicine. If you were to take an osteopath, a chiropractor, a naturopath, a dietitian or a nutritionist, an acupuncturist, a physical therapist, a massage therapist, and mush all those people together, you got a naturopath. Because our scope of practice allows us to do a lot of what's in their scopes, even if they can't cross over into the different scopes. And that is by way of the Practice Act. And that's why I define it as a complementary medicine. We complement every single medicine on the planet. You would love to have a naturopath alongside you, no matter who you are. We connect providers to each other. We connect patients to providers, because if we find something in our evaluations, we may say, hey, you may need to go see an orthopedic surgeon, because I'm looking at this here. We were in an MRI. We did this. Maybe go get, because some people present too far gone. There has been cases where I have been able to prevent surgeries, but then there are cases where someone is so far gone, I can't fix a tear.
Right.
It's off the bone.
Mm.
We're gonna have to kind of, there's no amount of natural here. Let's use a little common sense here. So I'm gonna send you to this person, refer you to this place, and then when you're done, come back so we can help rehab you. And we can work with physical therapists in that, because we bring the connective and soft tissue component to rehabilitation.
Wow.
Awesome.
Look, so when it comes to athletes, what I was talking about with the super athletes, we can also train the endurance. Now, imagine having someone who has been with you while you're training. Now you don't have to retire at 30, because we're helping you nutritionally. We're helping you on the inside. We're helping you on the outside. We're helping you strength. We're helping to keep you aligned. We're helping to keep you maintained. We're educating you about your posture, your diet. You're going to be able to have longevity as an athlete. We just need the opportunity to follow someone so that we can test this theory, which I know is going to work, but we just need to get more people in the field, more people interested in it, and then I think, we'll be able to test these theories. But I want to take it a step further and create some sport teams as well. And then they come from the university, and then they're going to go, wow, what's the difference between them and everybody else? Naturopath.
That's a great.
That'll be
Yeah. So, doctor, if you don't mind me, I want to switch the gears for a second.
Sure.
Let me ask you this. Now, being a Black female in medicine, how has it been for you in the corporate world to basically navigate through it and constantly elevate yourself, things like that, being a, Black female?
So because of my background, my neighborhood, where I come from, I wasn't exposed to as many things. So when I get to the University of Illinois, not only do I have to play catch up, but I have to keep up at the same time. And we do have to work a little harder. I would imagine that it's the same even now, where some of our other counterparts don't have to prove themselves as much. We have to be twice as good, work twice as hard to get the same level of respect. And so even when you get through, there's still this level of, I remember when I first started as a pharmacist, I'm 24, 25 years old. I was often mistaken as the technician or someone else. And if I went to other neighborhoods where I'm the pharmacist and my white male technician is there, they walk immediately to that person. Hi, my child has this, and and then we stand there and then we wait for him to direct them to me. And then they'll go, oh,
change, doesn't it? A little bit.
He's not the pharmacist. No, I am. How can I help you?
You love that though, do you?
Well, after a while, it was kind of like, oh, here we go.
Right.
But that happened. And it didn't just happen with others. It happened with us too. So it was like, even when I came to my own neighborhoods, sometimes that's where maybe it wasn't racism or sexism, but it was ageism, because here she is, you don't know anything about what, so
right.
a times
just a rarity.
Yeah. So a lot of times, in my experience, people weren't listening for those reasons, or if they saw the male counterpart there, they went straight to that. So it was like a triple whamming. In my experience, coming through medicine with Walgreens. But it was still good. I would like to say that I met a lot of people along the way and was able to help encourage them to get through pharmacy school or go to it or even try it. I think seeing me made it seem attainable or possible for them. But I also said, don't get it twisted. You gotta
still work.
Still some work. Still some work.
Hey, how was it? How was it coming from the number one? Well, maybe the number 2 alumni school in the nation, the University of Illinois, because we know y'all got the biggest alumni. They got people in every place, P.O. They got people in high places, man.
I didn't even really know UIC's history like that, or the U of I, because I did undergrad in the U of I, Urbana, and then I come to UIC to do the pharmacy program, because they had medical school and nursing school at Urbana, but they didn't have pharmacy. It's like, really? So I got to go back to Chicago, so anyway.
Right.
I guess what I heard, after I got out, they, when you listen to older Blacks, it was like, yeah, they didn't let us in there, so you got in and you got out, and I'm like, so it was a journey. It was a journey getting through it. Yeah.
So tell us about your book.
The Type 4 Experience. Wow. Okay. So it started with me just wanting to share my memoirs, like my hair memoirs. I went natural in 2008, meaning I just stopped getting perms. I mean, I'm an 80s baby, and all our lives, those Just For Me commercials were pushed in front of us. We're in an era where, maybe just after the Jerry curl, but now into the perms, well, that was just the thing to do. Everybody was in the salon getting their hair perms, and you rushing over to the sink because it's burning and you got to get it out. So it was just one of those things. And I've always had really thick hair. So my mother didn't know how to manage it. So she put it, and she just gave me a perm, to help to help
straighten
manage it. Yeah. And so what I talk about even in the book, and I do a little bit of historical context with that, is that we didn't have Black pride when it came to hair by my time. There was that type of pride maybe in the 60s and the 70s, but once the crack cocaine epidemic flushed our communities, because I'm the children of the people, because I had a lot of friends that ended up in DCFS because their mothers or their parents got strung out, they got taken out of their homes. And so now we don't know anything about this. So we're just going along with the times and just moving through it. We thought that our hair was something to straighten, or that's in the standard of beauty. When you look at magazines and everything, it wasn't hair that looked like the way it comes out of our head. That's not what we saw, both from men and women. I would also argue that, it wasn't just the Black woman that was affected, but also the Black man. They don't even know what we look like.
Right.
Not
You're
real,
right.
So it was one of those things. And so when I decided, I had a really great hairstylist, and I'm not trying to speak past tense because she's still alive. I'm still in touch with her. We're doing a book signing event at her salon, but she would always say, "Tay, why are you still perming your hair?" And I was just used to it. I was like, "Oh, just go on and do it," And even though she was getting more money to do it, she would always educate about the health of the hair and tell me things. And so one day I said, "Okay, well, let's stretch it out." So I would just get a perm every 6 months, but I was straightening it and everything. And so it got to the point where I said, "Well, you really don't even need it anymore because your hair has gotten trained to a point," and that's with consistency. And I talk about those things in the book as well. Having a hair regimen, it's about consistency, getting to a schedule of doing things, training your hair in a way, and it will respond the way you want. You can't just do it once in a while, ever so often. You really have to commit to it and make it a part of your lifestyle. The same way a woman would have nail appointments, pedicures, manicures, and waxes and things like that. That needs to be the hair maintenance for natural hair, should be a part of their regimen, just the same as those other things, and planned into your life. So, you're going out of town, you're doing something, and let's do something about this here. And I think it's just really just unlearning what we knew before, relearning something new. So it was me just telling my story at first, and a great motivational speaker that I love listening to once said that when you tell your story, and in telling your story, that can be someone's survival guide. So I said, what if there are people who want to go natural and they don't know what to do? And I've had so many hair fails. I've grown my hair 4 times now because I would do something to it. And when you first go natural and your hair starts growing and then you start feeling yourself, you throw color in it. And then color is just another processor. So maybe it wasn't the perm, but it's the color. And so that changed your hair texture, the porosity, it changed things and made it so difficult. So then I had to grow out the color because I couldn't do a big chop. That's a mind thing. There are a lot of women that will do the big chop and then they'll just take it all off their head. And I couldn't do that. That was,
it take too long to get it back, right?
Not really. Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, women have pretty fast.
No, it doesn't take down and do it. Not when you are consistent, not when you have that hair regimen I talk about in my book, not when you're taking the supplements that you need, things that are hair friendly, that's going to help you.
Talking about vitamins and stuff like that?
Absolutely. Vitamins and supplements. The regimen is threefold. It's not just about the regimen as far as how you're caring for your hair, as far as shampooing, conditioning, but the regimen is as far as your healthy eating and supplements. The regimen on your physical exercise, cardio, getting the blood flow going. When you're exercising, you're moving. Now that blood is moving through and it's getting to the scalp and the hair follicles and helping to stimulate growth. And when you're eating right, now you're putting the two things that are very important that are carried in the blood, and that's oxygen and nutrients. So if you got that going in there and you're constantly cleansing your scalp and you're conditioning the hair and you're taking care of it, it's going to grow. You'll be able to, and then also hair retention goals. So the hair retention challenge is not doing so much manipulation to the hair, because the number one cause of hair loss is breakage.
Yeah.
How does the hair break? Now, we're not talking about any type of medical condition or any hormonal type of imbalance, but how does that happen? Usually from dryness and over manipulation. That's how you're tearing and breaking.
Over what now?
Over manipulation. You know how people you know how people are constantly changing their hairstyle, constantly doing their hair. It's constant. They're in their head too much. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Just leave the hair strands alone. Let it breathe. Don't do anything. And I also talk about protective styling in the book and the purpose for protective styling, how to use that to get you length. Because we were to say, and I used to say, because I talk about, with the guy that I was dating, I remember saying, hey, I'm trying to grow my hair. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? Your hair grows anywhere. Good point. I'm trying to keep the hair that's on my head and grow new hair. Wow. That's what I'm trying to grow my hair. So it's retention goals plus hair growth goals, because I'm one to believe that as long as you're alive and breathing, you should be able to grow your hair.
As long as you want to, it can grow.
As long as you're alive and breathing,
even you, Bob.
I believe that your hair can grow, because hair cells, they generate like bone cells.
That's why I was asking her, P.O. I said, do she think I could grow my hair back? I think I could, though. Because my hair grows pretty.
I'm sure that you have to do something to keep it like that. So what are you doing to keep it like that?
I shave it every 2 days. Yeah.
There it is. So you answered your own.
But it'd be great, though.
It's growing. That could just be a supplement deficiency. But anyway, to your point, it's growing without you thinking about it.
Right.
You are maintaining that style consciously.
That's your natural hair?
Yes.
Wow, your hair it's long. It looks healthy.
Yeah.
It looks healthy, man.
That was the problem. Well, I don't want to say problem. Strike that. I'm not trying to say problem. My mom couldn't handle that, and that was the reason. And
she didn't know how.
Yeah, and I'm usually in protective style. Right. I took out some twists. It rained. The humidity was off the meter here in Chicago. And the hair just reverted. So it may be different things going on in here. But see, that's the beauty of it. Precipitation don't bother me no more.
Yeah, because most women be like, I gotta get it there.
That's the beauty of it. I had the umbrella just for the clothes. I didn't care about the hair. Like, whatever.
That's crazy. Because perm didn't really get popular and I don't want to show my age, but I remember my sisters. I don't mind showing my age. It didn't get popular to the early 80s. Because in the 70s, I remember most women was natural. Right, P.O., you remember that? Y'all remember? Yeah. Look at most of the pictures from the 70s. Everybody had a fro.
Everybody had a fro, yeah. Then they went to the Jerry curl. Then they went to the curls.
But then everybody started to want to wear their hair more freely and want to let it flow and wear bobs and become more of a European look to the hair. You think that might have been it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But think about the people who were, and this is my opinion only, think about the people who were doing all of that had all the Black pride. I think of the Panthers. I think of those, and once they neutralized those real Black pride kind of people, got them on crack.
Yeah.
got them, you know, assassinated.
Infiltrating them.
Yeah.
Send somebody on the inside.
Now everybody want to Jerry curl and do all these other things because now something we were programmed. So it was just conditioning, social conditioning.
That's right. That is right.
And still being programmed and social conditioning. Yes. We need to break that some type of way.
Nowadays, more people are wearing the locks. They're wearing their hair now. They're wearing afros. You know, we see a lot more of it now than we did 20 years ago. Or, you know, especially in the era of the perm. You didn't dare do it. The only time you saw it was with your new growth, and then you went in and you relaxed it again.
Okay, I read something in your bio. This is a little bit, this is something different. Did you post something? You said mommy is in pain?
Oh, Mommy Hurts.
Mommy Hurts.
Yeah, that's the book that that I thought I would be launching first, but Spirit said to get this one out, do this one first, and then segue into Mommy Hurts.
Mommy Hurts.
Yes, so it is, I wanted to build off of what my doctoral thesis was. When I was in my 4th year in the naturopathy program, I got pregnant. And so I did that. I was the 4th year internship. I was pregnant, and there were so many things happening to me, happening to my body, that I decided to do my thesis on hyperlordosis, what we call hyperlordosis, and lower back pain in the pregnant population with the application of naturopathic medicine, something that had never been done or thought of before. Even in the history of that college, I was the first to talk about the pregnant population because I was pregnant.
Right.
And back was hurting and I couldn't take pain pills. And so my classmates, and that's why I say, I just, love talking about and advocating for naturopathy, because in so many ways, I feel like it saved my life. Just knowing about it and having that exposure and being able to tell other people about it. And so I did my thesis on it, and even finding research was difficult, but that pregnancy ended up being a high risk pregnancy. I ended up going into preterm labor in that pregnancy as well. My son was born at 25 weeks. So he was premature, and he passed away 3 days later after the complications of his prematurity. So my book dedication was to him, because that's where the inspiration came from. And it's called Mommy Hurts, The Hope After Horror. Because I had to go through something. I went into a depression because I had lost my job from Walgreens, from the disability. Like, I was in and out of the hospital, so I couldn't keep up with that schedule.
Right.
I was married at the time, and my husband was deployed. He was in Kuwait. And that was the year that Chicago had this blizzard and everyone was snowed in. It was 2014. Everybody had this blizzard. We were all snowed in. I had to spend 2 weeks in a hospital because my cervical lining was effacing. It was thinning. I was already threatening to go into labor early. So they just held me there, kept me there. And that's what ended up happening. He was in the neonatal intensive care unit for those days. And we were just trying to see what was going to happen. Once I learned what was happening to him, they did some ultrasounds on his head and everything. Once I was like, oh yeah, so I don't think that this is the best thing to do. And so we discontinued the life support, me and my husband at the time. And then that was the inspiration. I had to get out of that whole thing because I went to the hospital for a checkup, pregnant,
right.
left there, no baby,
right.
no pregnancy. So it was such a mind job, and I couldn't understand why this was happening because I waited till I was married. I was trying to do it the way that I thought it was supposed to do. I waited. I thought I did everything the way I was supposed to do. Why couldn't I keep my child? I don't understand that. I couldn't, wrap my mind around that. And so what I started doing with the chapters of it, after that happened, well, before that pregnancy, we had a miscarriage. So it was a 12-week miscarriage. And then the next pregnancy was the preterm birth. And so we waited and healed. We tried again. And then I got pregnant and then I started bleeding. So I went to the doctor and I'm like, what's going on? And this OB-GYN, she was absolutely wonderful. But she was like, I don't want to get your hopes up, but I think you're still pregnant. Long story short, the pregnancy was in my right fallopian tube. Oh. So they had to terminate it because it was getting ready to burst anyway, and it's not supposed to be there. So technically I was pregnant. It was just it implanted in the wrong place. It wasn't in the uterus. Wow. So they had to remove that and the pregnancy. And at that time I had given up. I just, you know, of course our marriage did not survive all of that because it's already hard enough being married. But when you add those things on top of it, yeah, so we're not together. But as we were splitting, I learned that I was pregnant again because I had just opened my women's healthcare center that the focus was on family planning, prenatal, and postpartum care. That's what I wanted to do when I became the naturopath. No offense to my classmates that went into sports medicine, but I felt that I was supposed to go there because of what I had gone through. I was doing a lot of research. I was in a lot of forums and groups, and I learned, hey, there are millions of people who go through this.
Right.
You can share your story and help them and see how you were able to do it, because I did have a successful pregnancy, all of that, and have a beautiful boy. He's 7. He'll be next. So even after all of that, so I decided, hey, we're going to do Mommy Hurts, Hope After the Horror, because you go through so much, but you could still come out of it. And because of neuropathy, I had something to help me through that traditional medicine wasn't able to help me through it. So I want to get that, but I didn't know why I couldn't get all of the chapters and things together ready to launch that one. So the hair book came back. It had been sitting on my bookshelf for 2 years. I had to blow the dust off of it. And I said, you know what, just launch.
Just launch.
Let's not just launch.
Right.
Wow. That's good stuff.
Yeah. So that's my story. So I lived through it. You know, I've had the hair fails. I've done dumb stuff. There's a pocket of hair right here. I had those those boho locks, and I misjudged where my hair was, and I cut my hair when I was unraveling and taking it out. I'm like, wow, something's wrong. But it's in a corner. You can't even see it. The rest of the hair covers it. So, maybe I'll show people that little patch in one of my little videos. But I was rushing too, so I had to slow down and take everything out. I was okay. Don't misjudge here. It's longer than you think.
Right. So, your hair's very long. Wow.
Yeah. So and I've been excited about finding my signature look. I talk about that with women towards the end, like one of my last chapters where I talk about rock the kinks. That's the hashtag that I wanted to start, rock the kinks. So just do it. Normalize the look. Find your swag with it. What works for your face? What works for you? Because it truly is. It's liberating. Because I'm not worried about a cover up, over my sew-in, the tracks no more. I ain't worried about that.
Right. And I imagine it's the maintenance.
The air on my now. Natural hair is no less maintenance. It still work. It's still a lot of work. You gotta love it. You need patience. Beautiful. I gotta walk people through. It's like, yes, it's gonna take every ounce of patience in your body if you want length. Because if you don't care about length, you can just, you'll probably stop at a certain plateau. It'll stop because you're going to be losing strands just as fast as you're growing them. But if you're trying to retain length and really really have the hair stretch, it takes patience. You can't just pull at it. You have to be very gentle.
Keep it oiled up and all of that. You say exercise.
But how about I had to debunk a myth of oiling the scalp? I'm like, I know it's some women gonna come for me with that. Like, don't oil
don't oil the scalp. I thought that was it. You put the oil straight through. Go ahead,
they're gonna come for me, but I'm telling them I explained it because now there's an exception. A hot oil treatment is different from the traditional, how we would just, you sit in between your mama legs on the floor and they part it. Right. The hot oil treatment is like a treatment. It's like a special hair treatment where you can infuse oils that have a lot of hair-friendly nutrients and things into the hair follicle. And then you shampoo and you clear everything up, you deep condition, with cool water, rinse everything out, seal in that moisture, seal in all that goodness. That's a treatment. Oiling the scalp is like putting wax, like think about candle wax when it dries over your scalp. Oh. It can't breathe.
Yep.
It's suffocating.
I heard that before
no
too.
oxygen getting in. And then people, they in there scratching their head ridiculously because it's inflamed. Your hair isn't growing, your scalp is inflamed.
Oh, because it's not breathing.
It's not breathing.
All these years, I just knew all I had to do was oil my scalp.
You block the pores. Yeah, that's what's happening here. So there's technique with this. There's a science to this. It's a science to that, because you got to think about it. Our scalps naturally secrete oil called sebum. Naturally secretes that. Now, couple on to that the environment. You got dust, dirt, debris, you got microorganisms, all of that. It's all stuck up in there, all of it. So that's why you have to shampoo, because you got to cleanse all of it.
Right.
And clear the scalp so it can breathe oxygen.
Wow. Well, Pete, no more oil in your scalp, man.
Yeah, well, if you want to do it because you just got to do it, then I will say use a water-based product, something that will be easily absorbed into the scalp, and not one that blocks and coats it. That would be my recommendation. So I have a product line, and that came from two things. Number one, because of my history and my childbearing years with the high-risk pregnancies and the recurrent pregnancy losses, that were all these different things, I was paranoid about what I was putting on my body. And one day I said, well, Shante, if you make the product, then you'll know exactly what's in it. So It's time for you to put the pharmacist skills to work, girl. You get on up in there and start doing what it do. So I started, my very first product is under Shante Beauty and Health. The very first product I made was a product I call Smooth Like Butter. It's a shea butter mixture, some other natural oils with it. And all I wanted to do was prevent stretch marks. That was wow. I was at home on bed rest, and I just wanted to do something to prevent stretch marks. That's it. And then from there, it went to now something to wash up with. Okay, if you're going to do that natural, then you might as well do your body wash. So I bought some African black soap, the real African black soap, the one that crumbles, and it just wasn't practical. I'm like, this stuff is crumbling in my towel, it's going down the drain, so I decided to melt it and create a body wash. And when I did that, I was like, okay, this is really good. Okay, I can do this. And then I said, well, if you made something for your body, you can make a shampoo, right? And then it just kept evolving from there. Every time I thought I did something and accomplished it, I thought of the next thing that I would need. And so me and my son, we've been using my stuff. And it was my grandmother that said, why don't you make it commercial? Share this with the world. Because at first it was just stuff for me to just, and then I had
how can we get this product?
I'm unemployed. I didn't have money. So I'm like, I can't just spend. So I have to be a little frugal here. So I started making things.
Right. Now, how do we get it? How do we get the product? Is it available?
Oh, Shante Beauty and Health. Yes. So it's onshantebeauty.com.
Okay.
And that's where the product line is. And then that evolved to Shante Hairline and then Shante Body. So it's celebrating 10 years, because I did this in 2014. Wow. So 10 years into it. And now I'm talking more about it. I wasn't talking about it as much. And one of the things I even say in the book, I know.
You gotta
I in a book that maybe it was imposter syndrome, where I didn't feel confident about my stuff. And I have an excerpt in a book where I said, when I still had some commercial products under the sink, if I didn't have any batches of my stuff made, I would get lazy and I would use the commercial stuff. And then I would end up with some type of a tangled mess, or it would take longer than normal to do detangling or something like that. And then the light bulb will come on. Okay, Shante, this is taking too long. Get your stuff. And every single time that I went to my tried and true, my stuff that I made, it just was a breeze. And I said, okay, throw it out. Just throw the stuff out. Use your stuff and put it forward. Save time, because that's really the type 4's experience. It's frustrating if you spend 4 hours detangling your hair, trying to detangle your hair, and the style still doesn't come out right. That's frustrating and discouraging. It will make you want to just put the dang perm back in. But
hey Shante, Doc, I gotta ask you this though. Type 4. I mean, how many different types do we have of hair? I didn't even know.
I'm going by the Andre Walker typing system. So it's type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4.
Type 4 is the, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so type 1 is the straight hair, right? That is the European hair that's straight, no curl, no nut, straight. Type 2 is starting to get a little wavy. It's straight, but it can wave up. Type 3, now we're starting to get some curls. But at least those types, they're a little bit more manageable than type 4, which is still a coil, but it's tightly coiled and it shrinks. I have this lady I know, she said, I call it wearable technology. And I'm like, yeah, the rest of us, we call it shrinkage, because it draws up, it defies gravity. That's why my subline is, it's big, it's curly, it can't be tamed. Because the minute any type of moisture or really it hits your hair, it's changing. I had 2-strand twists in my hair. There was to change the curl pattern. So I had 2-strand twists. It don't look like that no more. It look like it changes with moisture. And so those are the things that we go through. I had a friend that told me before that when she did her hair and she was on a dating app or something, and she met someone, and her hair was straightened, but she was natural. She didn't have a perm, but her hair was straightened in all her pictures. It was even straightened when she went to go meet the person for dinner. But it was a humid day, and the hair changed.
But it fluff up, right?
It just went. And then she was like, I know he feels like he was catfished. I promise that was not. And those are just some of the struggles that we go through with this, when you don't really know how to do your hair or how to manage your hair. And so the type 4 experience is not just my experience, it's any type 4's experience, because I know that they can relate to a lot of the things that I reveal in the book about what we go through. Also, there's a portion of this because corporate America, whenever I wanted to wear my afro at Walgreens, I did it sometimes, but there was always this unspoken,
you can't be wearing that.
Don't do that. It was so that would happen, and you could feel it, even if it wasn't said.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. So I just said, okay, there's always this, okay, when I go to a meeting, all right, what am I supposed to do here? Okay, all right, well, let me go do the other thing. And during my high-risk pregnancy, the childbearing years, I put my hair in cornrows, and that was just my lace front wig era, because I couldn't manage it and what was happening to me at the same time. So I was like, well, let me just do something. So those are our struggles. That's the experience. But the type 4 experience isn't just to ladies, men too. They have stories, and we're going to talk about some of those stories, because I want to do a segment, the type 4 experience for the men.
Let's do it. Can we?
I think I'm 3 or 4.
You 3 or 4?
3 or 4, yeah. They be trying to curl up and whatnot. But look, Doc, I got a couple random questions for you. Okay. All right. First one. Did you join any sororities, organizations when you were in school?
I did not. I didn't join any sororities or no.
Okay. All right. Republican or Democrat?
Neither.
Neither. If you was president, what would you do right now to change the state of the country? I know
Ooh, that's
a question, but
that's tricky.
it could be a lot.
Yeah,
but,
that's
you know.
loaded. That's really loaded.
I just like to
what would I
pick your
do to
brain.
change
Get rid of them damn migrants. No, just kidding.
that is, man. I don't know that as president for what I'm thinking to do, that because that's one branch of government, it's really just there to execute things that come from the legislative branch. Wow.
Well, let's put it like this here then. If you can make any change that could better the good of our people here in the country, what would you do? If you could.
Man. Really strive for and achieve equality, because we never got it. We were just asking for civility, and we still didn't get that, but just true equality.
Okay. All right. And one last question. When you're riding in your whip, just taking a drive, what are you listening to?
Well, these days music is different. So I'm probably listening to the music of my day when I was really heavy into music. So things from the 90s, early 2000s. Those are the genres where R&B, hip hop, rap, I'm just listening to a lot of throwbacks. My mother used to always play those dusties on Sunday mornings when it was time for us to get up and clean up for the week. So that's kind of, that's been instilled in me. So from time to time on Sundays, I might throw on something myself just from the memory of it. But yeah, I'm listening to a lot of old school things.
Okay. Dope. That was the best era though. The 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
That was the best. That was the best.
Music went haywire now.
Man, what?
Listen to some Cardi B sometime, So
yeah, you got to be at the club though, drinking though. Yeah, that's that party and drinking music.
Stuff come through. I'm like, okay, I like that. I see you. But that's it. It has to be R&B, but even R&B is different. I don't want to say people aren't talented, but it's hard to tell if it's truly their talent. Not the way they used to be. Like,
it's easy to tell because they don't sound like they're talented. They just sound like they got a good beat behind them and a good machine behind them. And me, if I'm going to say if I had the opportunity to make a change, and I think I would start there. I would stop it where they would not be promoting all the negative stuff that they're promoting today. That stuff wouldn't be on the radio. You know what I'm saying? My 8-year-old granddaughter wouldn't know the lyrics to what's her name? Sexy Red. Wouldn't know her lyrics and things like that. I would start there. I would start there the music because they're steady programming us with the music. They're programming us, telling us, okay, it's okay to shoot people, ride down on people. I'm on demon time. And this is in our culture. Like, this is what we really do. It's not what we really do or what we're about, but we're being programmed. It's a facade out there. It's it is all by design, and it is to keep us down. So we got to get up out of here some kind of way or another. But
through the music, I mean, that's what did it, before. And they know that you could reach people through music. So that's what gets played, not the people who are truly talented.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, Ice Cube said it a couple of weeks ago. The same people who own the prisons own the music.
Exactly.
So when you got that, I mean, you're controlling our young people. Remember the Pied Piper, the story of the Pied Piper. All of that stuff really is the same thing. But I know we got to get out of here. I want to ask Doc. Tell us where you plugging the book at. You go do the book signing. Me and Pico try to show up for that and crash it, man.
Yes, Afro Joe's July 10th. From I think I don't know if we have the time frame. I'm thinking 6 to 9 in that range.
Where's
but
Afro
definitely-
Joe's?
Afro Joe's is in Beverly, the Beverly neighborhood of Chicago. So it's on 99th and Longwood.
99th and Longwood. I'm familiar with that area.
Yeah.
99th and Longwood. My little girlfriend used to stay right over there. I remember that, right over there. In between Vincennes and Ashland. Right up in between there, right? 99.
By the tracks.
Maybe closer to Western. Isn't it closer to Western?
Yeah,
well,
yeah, Longwood,
I
right.
guess we could,
Okay, it's across Ashland.
I guess we could pull Google out instead of guessing.
I don't know what we was doing before Google, boy. We was just finding out how to get there.
I know.
But that's
We were
the
using
10th is a Monday. I think
It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday. Yeah, we want to definitely try to come out and support that, man, because
Thank you.
you know, we want to be a part of anything that's positive and growth and prosperity amongst our people. And man, we want to thank you for coming on. Is there anything else you want to leave before we get up out of here?
Oh, wow. I think I've said a lot already. But definitely people check out the Type 4 experience. It's a wealth of information. It's not just about Black hair or the culture, but also our history. It leaves you with things. It helps you as a person who wants to transition. It helps you as a parent who has to maintain your child's Type 4 kinks. And that even extends to biracial families. You know, so it's something that is for everybody, men, women, and children.
Okay.
There was a line on here that I read. You said, food, herbs, and drugs are all a part of this world and at times may be used together inappropriately. It is our duty as healthcare providers to ensure that they coexist safely, effectively with our patients. That was something that
quote.
That's dope.
That's
I
my
like
Dr.
that.
Shante quote. Yeah.
I like
that's
that,
my
Doc.
Dr.
What's up? That's
Well, I
what's
just wanted to read that and close out, man. We want to thank you for
Thank
coming on the
you.
Chicago
That was
Millionaire Radio
perfect.
Show.
Yes.
And
yes.
man, I read it. I've been digging into it. I was like, that's not like she's supposed to be on Arsenio, but she with us. So, man, thank you for coming on, man. P.O., you got anything else you want to leave before we get up out of here?
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on, Dr. Shante. Make sure you do us a
Thank
favor,
you.
download the app, Bump That Radio, follow us up on Instagram, and we're going to try to show up over here at your book signing. We would definitely love to see you there and get your book. Check it out. And appreciate it. Thank you very much, ma'am.
And this was our first show on Bump That Radio with Chicago Millionaires Entertainment, man. And P.O., he the master, man. This dude is a musical genius, man. He's humble tonight. He's being humble, but this is my guy. Hey, thank you for coming on, Doc. We're going to do this again. We up out of here. Chicago Millionaire Radio Show. Peace.
Holla.